My name is Elena, and I want to tell you my story. It is not a story about drama or violence. Instead, it is a quiet story, a slow one, a story about how I almost lost myself because for a long time I was afraid to be alone. For years, I truly believed that friends were everything. I thought that having many friends meant I was happy, important, and loved. Because of that, I wanted to belong more than anything. I wanted to be accepted, and deep inside, I wanted to feel that I mattered to someone. So when I met my group of friends, I felt lucky. They were funny, loud, and full of energy. They invited me to parties, and we stayed up late talking, laughing, and sharing secrets. For the first time in my life, I felt included. I felt seen. I felt like I finally had a place in the world. At the beginning, everything felt easy and exciting. We took photos together, posted stories online, and joked about our lives and our problems. They called me their best friend, and every time I heard that word, my heart felt warm. In those moments, I told myself, this is it. These are my people. However, little by little, things started to change. At first, the changes were so small that I almost did not notice them. Some of them began to complain all the time about work, about life, about other people. They criticized strangers, coworkers, and even family members. I laughed with them, even when the jokes made me uncomfortable. I did not want to be different. I didn't want to ruin the mood. Then, slowly, they started talking badly about people who were not there. Friends, old classmates, anyone who tried to grow or change their life, anyone who started a new project or followed a dream. Who does she think she is? He's going to fail anyway. That's stupid. Life is not like that. Even though I tried to ignore it, their words stayed in my mind longer than I wanted to admit. Still, I told myself I was overreacting. Everyone complains sometimes, I thought. They're just joking. No group is perfect. So in the end, I ignored the signs. Without realizing it, I slowly began to change too. I spent more and more time with them. At the same time, I stopped reading books. I stopped learning new things. I stopped working on my dreams. And whenever I talked about my goals, they looked bored or made jokes. Relax, Elena. Life is not that serious. Why are you always trying so hard? Just enjoy the moment. And little by little, I started listening. I wanted their approval. More than that, I wanted to belong. After a while, I started to feel small. I compared myself to them. I looked at their clothes, their confidence, their way of speaking, and I kept thinking, why am I not like them? Why do I always feel insecure? Sometimes they laughed at my choices. Sometimes they ignored my feelings. Sometimes they made jokes about my dreams. And every time, I laughed too, even when my chest felt tight, even when my smile felt fake. I kept telling myself, it's okay, this is what friendship is like. Nobody is perfect. But deep inside, something was breaking. Years passed like this. From the outside, my life looked normal. I had friends, I had plans, I had a social life. Yet inside, I felt anxious and tired all the time. I felt trapped, even when I was surrounded by people. Many times, I thought about leaving, about creating distance, about choosing a different life. But every time, fear stopped me. What if I end up alone? What if nobody else wants to be my friend? What if they are right and I'm too sensitive? So once again, I stayed. Then, one night, something happened that changed everything. We were at a party, sitting in a noisy living room with loud music and flashing lights. For months, I had been working on a personal project. It was a small dream, but it mattered a lot to me. That night, finally, I found the courage to talk about it. My heart was beating fast as I spoke. I've been working on something, I said. I really want to try something new with my life. At first, they looked at me in silence. Then someone laughed. Are you serious? That's never going to work. You always live in a fantasy world, Elena. Soon, they all started laughing. My face became hot. My hands started shaking. They were making jokes about me in front of everyone. In that moment, something inside me broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. For the first time, I clearly realized how little they cared about my feelings, how little they respected my dreams, how small they made me feel. And suddenly, I understood something painful. I had given them my time, my energy, my loyalty, my happiness, and yet they had given me nothing in return. I cried for the years I had lost, for the dreams I had ignored, for the person I had slowly stopped being. That night, I asked myself a hard question. Why am I staying in a life that hurts me? In the silence of my room, I finally understood something important. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Not everyone who laughs with you wants the best for you. Some people take more than they give, and some people live comfortably in negativity and want you to stay there with them. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. Still sad, still scared, but also clearer. So I made a small decision. I stopped saying yes to everything. I stopped answering messages immediately, and I stopped trying to please everyone. Instead, I started creating space in my life. Space for people who respected me, space for people who inspired me, space for people who truly listened. At first, it felt strange and lonely. Some of my old friends got angry. Why are you acting different? Why are you ignoring us? You think you're better than us now? Their words hurt, but this time I stayed quiet. I went back to reading books. I started learning again. I wrote my dreams in a notebook. I also began spending time with people who made me feel calm, not anxious. People who asked about my life and really listened. It was not easy. Some days I wanted to go back to what was familiar, back to what felt safe. But then I remembered the pain of that night at the party, and because of that, I stayed strong. Little by little, I started to feel lighter. I felt free. For the first time in years, I felt like my life was mine again. Along the way, I learned to listen to myself. I learned to set boundaries, and I learned that saying no to others can mean saying yes to your life. I also learned to enjoy my own company. Most importantly, I learned this. Choosing healthy friendships is not selfish. It's survival. It's self-respect. It's self-love. Today, my life is quieter, but it is real. I feel present, I feel strong, and I feel proud of the choices I make. Sometimes I still remember the lost years, and yes, it still hurts. But now, that pain is a lesson. I learned that friendships are not just about fun or company, they're about respect, support, and mutual growth. And today, when I smile, it is a smile for me, for Elena, who decided that her life does not depend on others, for Elena, who learned to say no and finally choose herself. If you are listening to my story and you feel something familiar, let me tell you this. Do not be afraid to walk away. Do not be afraid to choose yourself, because life is too short to stay with people who drain your energy. Your time is valuable, your dreams matter, and your peace matters. You deserve friendships that give as much as they take. I learned the hard way, but now I am free and I finally live my life my way.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.